Hey, welcome. Today we're going to dive into the world of art, and we're going to build a really simple but powerful toolkit that'll help you look at a painting, a sculpture, pretty much any work of art with totally fresh eyes and, a much deeper understanding.
Okay, let's just be real for a second. Have you ever been in a museum, you're standing in front of some famous painting, and that little voice in your head just whispers, what am I supposed to be seeing here? Yeah, it's such a common feeling, that sense of, I don't know, intimidation, but we are absolutely about to change all of that.
And the best part is, you don't need a fancy art history degree. You don't need to know some secret password. Today, we're going to build your personal toolkit for looking at art. This is all about giving you a simple, practical process you can use literally anywhere.
So here's the game plan for today. We're going to start with, starting with your eyes. Then we'll learn to think like a detective. And finally, we'll get to the most important part, how you can find your own voice when you're looking at art. So, let's get into it.
Okay, section 1, start with your eyes. This right here is the foundation. It's all about just slowing down and moving from just kind of glancing at a piece to truly seeing what's right there in front of you. To put this into practice, let's use this incredible piece. This is called The Dance by the artist Paula Rego. Now for now, don't worry about who she is or what the painting is supposed to mean. We are just going to use our eyes. That's it. The very first step is the easiest one. Just describe. What words pop into your head? Maybe moonlit or mysterious. Look really close at the colors and shapes. What are the people actually doing? Now, here is a fantastic trick. Imagine you had to describe this painting over the phone to a friend who can't see it. What are the details you'd focus on then?
So, now that we've described what we physically see, the next step is to relate the artwork to you. Does this scene remind you of anything? A memory? A story? A movie, maybe? What things do you recognize in there? A dance? A fortress? The moonlight? And most importantly, just check in with yourself. How does it make you feel? Quiet? Nostalgic? A little uneasy, maybe? This is where that personal connection really starts to happen.
All right, so we've looked closely. Now for section 2, think like a detective. Yep, it's time to put on our investigator hats and start looking for all the clues that are hidden right inside the frame. Every good detective needs 2 core skills, to analyze and to interpret. To analyze just means investigating the details, and to interpret is using those details to explain what you think it all means. It's basically building a theory based on the evidence you find. So our detective's process has 3 simple steps. First, we ask, how was this made? Is it paint, pencil, a mix of things? That's what we call the medium. Second, identify the focus. Where does your eye go first? What's grabbing your attention? And third, we look for context. What clues does the art give you about the subject or maybe the time in history it was created? Let's test these new detective skills on something completely different. This piece is called Untitled by Fiona Ray. As you can see, this is abstract art, which means it isn't trying to look exactly like something from the real world. Instead, it's all about shapes and colors and these bold marks. This is a perfect case for our detective. So, looking at this explosion of color and form, let's start with the big open question. What do you think is happening here? And listen, there is no single right answer. It's all about your interpretation, based on the visual clues you see. Okay, let's dig a little deeper. Do you think this piece has a message? Maybe it's about chaos, or pure energy, or even something like digital information. Now use your imagination. If you could step inside this painting, what would you hear? Static? Music? Total silence? And hey, if the artist, Fiona Ray, was standing right here next to you, what's the one question you'd have to ask her? So we've observed and we've investigated. Let's move to our final section. And honestly, it's my favorite. Section 3, find your own voice. This is where you get to bring everything together and form your own confident, personal opinion. And for this, we have our last 2 tools for the toolkit, respond and evaluate. To respond is to let the art spark new ideas in you, and to evaluate is simply to decide what you think about it. How successful is it as a piece of art in your eyes? 7. Now, evaluating isn't just saying I like it or I don't like it. The trick is to be specific and to be balanced. Ask yourself, what parts are really successful? What works really well or is the most memorable thing about it? But at the same time, don't be afraid to think critically. Are there parts that seem less effective? Could anything be improved? A really strong evaluation considers both sides of the coin. And finally, your response. This is all about the impact the art has on you. Does it make you want to say something, maybe write a poem or a short story about it? Does it inspire you to go home and create something yourself? This is the art's legacy, inside you.
Which brings us to the ultimate question. Looking back at that abstract work by Fiona Ray, the one that's officially untitled, what would you name this piece and why? Your answer to that single question is proof that you've used the entire toolkit. You've described, you've related, you've analyzed and interpreted, and now you're ready to respond. You've found your voice. And that's really what this is all about. By moving from simple description all the way to your own personal interpretation and evaluation, you've built a complete toolkit. With these steps in your back pocket, every single piece of art becomes an open book, and you are fluent in its language.
So that art gallery, it's no longer some library of secrets that you don't have the key for. It's a world filled with thousands of incredible stories just waiting for you. The only question left is, what are you going to discover next?